Good evening and welcome into KC Sports Tonight. I am Mark Powles, joined by Katie Marr on this March Monday. We are here at T-Mobile Center previewing the Big 12 tournament. Katie, there's already a lot of excitement here, but some pretty cool stuff going on as well.
Yeah, it's March 2nd, and if you can hear the noises around us, that's some construction projects that they're working on around T-Mobile outside. They're setting up the whole Fan Fest experience out there. The road is closed off right now, so don't even, what's this road called?
Grand.
Grand. Don't even try driving down that whole patch in front of T-Mobile Center. It's closed off for all the fun stuff they're going to have for fans this week, and they're still finishing up things here around the concourse because the women's tournament starts in just 2 days. March is here.
Yeah, right around the corner. The March Madness set to begin. The Big 12 always wants to have the best in-environment situation in all the postseason tournaments. And one of the cool ways that they're doing that this year is they're having some innovation on the basketball court. So for the very first time in an official sporting event, real competition here in the United States, they're going to be playing the Big 12 basketball tournament on a glass LED floor here at T-Mobile Center. Katie, I know you've done a little looking into this. Can you tell us a little bit about the floor and kind of maybe what fans should expect here in the arena at T-Mobile?
Yeah, so we actually just got our very first look at it. We're here a little bit early before the media gets this kind of grand unveiling, a little sneak peek tonight that we're going to have for you on KCTV5 tonight at 10. But we kind of got a little look at it. We saw the Jayhawk on the court and how they're going to be doing some player intros. We actually saw they flash one of their names. So that was super cool. So clearly it's going to play a role in, I think, every aspect of the game. And I mean, it's a big chance, obviously, for advertisements and the conference making money, which in this day and age of college basketball, I guess is always a good thing. But it can change based on the school. It can change based on who's playing. And for commercial breaks, anything else going on the court, there's a lot of innovation and movement and bouncing and just a lot of cool movements. I think it's pretty cool. It's maybe not going to change the face of college athletics like we maybe once thought this announcement from Brett Yormark about 2 weeks ago was going to be. But it is still super cool, and I'm excited to get even more of a look at it, kind of down there as well later on. But yeah, it's the first time it's ever been used in college basketball in any real competition, like you said. The only time it's been used before this was the NBA All-Star game last year, I believe. So first time in competition. I know it's probably got some people being like, what glass court? Is that going to break anyone's ankles? Obviously, we hope not. But I did wear my Jordans, so if anyone hands me a basketball, I will test it out for you guys. I'll play like dummy. I don't care.
Hey, Katie Marr, like Mike, she's our little Michael Jordan here. And I know certainly some people online, just because you were kind of alluding to, when Commissioner Brett Yormark said it was going to be a groundbreaking announcement, some people did kind of clown that online. But now that we're here and we have seen it in person,
it's pretty cool.
It does change the game. This is definitely not a typical basketball floor. Now, looking into this floor, I know when you hear the word glass and basketball, it's not necessarily what you think of as a floor, but the floor, from what I've been told in the research, has about 3 different levels. The first one's a glass floor, or like a glass surface. Then underneath that, there's the LED lights that obviously change that. But then below those 2 surfaces is maybe the most important aspect of this. There's kind of a spring-like metal mechanisms under there that provides maybe more of the traditional bounce like a hardwood floor, and does make it like a traditional basketball floor. I was doing some looking into this. The company that makes this, they said they've had some NBA players come in and test on this, and some of those players, they said, obviously, maybe take this with a grain of salt because it is coming from the manufacturer of the floor, but they said that the floor had better grip than a traditional wood floor. So we'll see maybe how that impacts play out here, because these guys, in no way, shape, or form are these games an exhibition. These are teams that are competing for national tournament seeds. These are teams that are competing, hey, if they win the whole thing and they're not in the tournament, this is how they can secure a big berth. So it's going to be very exciting to see maybe how real games that actually matter, that have a big impact on the college basketball season. They're being played on a new surface, and I'm not maybe sure how popular that might be amongst the players, but visually it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool, and I think something that might also be kind of setting fans off about it, maybe causing some worries, when you compare it to we know the quality of the field that the Chiefs played on in Brazil last year.
Yeah.
What can happen in when you're trying something new for the first time. Maybe stuff like that. It might just be bringing up bad memories for people. I have to believe that Brett Yormark would not have done this if it weren't vetted in every way safely on all that stuff. We're going to find out this week, though, I guess, how the players actually like it. I know the K-State women's team got a first look at it about a week or two ago. They uploaded some videos on their social media, and they looked like they were having fun with it. They didn't say anything worried them. So at least that's a good sign.
No, that certainly is good news. And I know maybe for some people out there, if you don't know anything about this, you're worried about the floor. This is used by 2 professional teams, I believe, in Europe and the EuroLeague, and has also been used in FIBA-sanctioned events. So there have been some top-flight, top-level athletes that have been able to use this floor and play on it. And then obviously the NBA All-Star game that was in Indianapolis featured this floor. So cool to see the Big 12 remaining on the cutting edge. But we got to talk about some of the basketball. We're going to start maybe with the men's side, because I was looking at the rankings. The Big 12 Conference has 5 of the top 14 teams in the country. I mean, the level of basketball and the caliber of players that are going to be here in Kansas City next week for that men's tournament is going to be unbelievable. But maybe we should start this conversation with the Kansas Jayhawks. The new AP rankings came out, and they remain number 14 in the polls. Kind of an up and down week last week for KU. Obviously, on Big Monday, you and I were up there when they played Houston. KU beat the 5th-ranked team in the country, 69-56. A big win, good win for the Jayhawks. Darren Peterson played for a long time in that game. But then on Saturday, KU went down to number 2 Arizona, and they actually got the game pretty close there in the second half, 49-47, before Arizona ran them out of the gym. So, Katie, KU staying number 14 in the rankings after that kind of up and down week, the big win against Houston, and then the big loss at Arizona. Does that maybe change your perspective on this team and maybe how good and how far they can go in March Madness?
Not so much, because, you know, KU is ranked 14. You mentioned 5 teams in the Big 12 are in the top 14.
Yeah.
I mean, KU's beaten all the other 4 at some point in the season, right?
Good point.
And the times that they've
Very
lost.
good point, Katie.
It's a very good point. I'm full of those.
She knows ball.
She knows ball. I knew Trey White was due against Houston, and he was. When it comes to a neutral setting like this, and if anything, KU is going to have more of a leg up than almost any other team here. I know those Iowa State fans like to come on down for this tournament, but if anything, KU is the closest team of any that are coming here for this Big 12 tournament next week. That's got to count for something when it comes to that Allen Fieldhouse type of experience. You know, KU always just plays so much better at home, and it's hard to beat top-ranked teams on the road, especially when Arizona clearly very much wanted revenge in their game on Saturday on their home turf. KU ended their undefeated season, handed them their first loss, knocked out the number 1 team in the country. Clearly they were angry. They wanted some revenge. That's fair. I think the only thing that's counting against KU right now is really that loss against Cincinnati at home. I think that's the only reason why they're not in the top 10, because, I mean, when you look at it, they've beaten every team that's ahead of them at least once. I think they're a top 10 team, and when it comes to a neutral site like this, anything can happen, especially in the postseason. Who has more experience winning in the postseason than Bill Self of all these coaches? So I think that KU is, they're getting knocked a little bit for that loss against Cincinnati, and that's why they're 14. But I think that this is a team that, when they're playing the way that we've seen them play at their peak, they're a Final Four team. That also comes down to the Darren Peterson of it all and how they play with him.
No, that really is true. But the peaks and valleys with this team, I mean, they truly are phenomenal. I mean, you talk about they beat the 4 teams in the Big 12 that are ranked ahead of them in the standings, but then they lay an egg against Cincinnati. And sometimes it's like, I mean, there against Arizona, I mean, they got it to within 2 points. And then I think they allowed the Wildcats to go on like a 16-0, 18-0 run or something. I mean, that's just something that you absolutely can't have happen. And to me, that was a huge opportunity game for KU going down there to Arizona, because the Big 12 was Arizona's to lose. I mean, Arizona's playing with the target on their back, and KU obviously was trying to score the upset. And I mean, that was a chance for KU maybe to reset the national conversation about them. And I mean, what are we supposed to think? I mean, they go there and they just get run out of the gym, and it didn't really look too pretty. But just as you said, hey, Bill Self, he's in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. We have confidence he can dial up the right things there for the Jayhawks. But they're not the only local team that will have there in the Big 12 men's basketball tournament. Obviously, K-State, if they're going to try to get to the NCAA tournament, they're going to have to run the table here in Kansas City. Odds of that probably are very slim to none. But Katie, the K-State Wildcats, how are we feeling right now?
I mean, if they win a game in here, like, I don't think any K-State fans are going to get mad at me for saying this. I think they all kind of have similar feelings. I remember talking to the Casey Catbackers president after Jerome Tang got fired, and he admitted, like, none of them were really excited about March. I think all of them could probably agree if they win a game here next week, it'd be a miracle. They're probably going to be the 15 seed because they're tied with Utah still, but K-State has the tiebreaker over Utah because they did manage to beat them earlier in the season. So they're probably going to be the 15 seed when all is said and done, unless by some crazy turn of events, like they wind up lower than them. K-State wins a game, it'd be cool, and they survive to play another day, and then they get to play on a Wednesday, but they're definitely going to be playing on Tuesday here next week, and I mean, they're in a back and forth battle with TCU on their home court on Saturday. TCU once again gets the better of them this season. Their home finale is tomorrow night against West Virginia, and then they have to end their regular season in Allen Fieldhouse, which isn't exactly going to be fun for them, I don't think. Fun for the Jayhawk fans, probably. I'm sure PJ Haggerty will still find a way to score like 25 points, as he always does. But yeah, it's not the most exciting time for K-State fans, but I know a lot of them are excited about the future, at least.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's kind of a death march to the end of the season there for K-State. But if you are looking for a reason to watch those guys and you haven't watched them all this year, watch P.J. Haggerty. Yeah. I mean, this guy's a professional scorer. Like, when you look at, I mean, if you were an opposing coach and you were game planning against K-State, you'd be like, we have got to stop P.J. Haggerty. And night in and night out, he still finds a way to get the ball in the basketball hoop. And the other team knows that, hey, he's the focal point and he can still find a way to get it done. So K-State, obviously, we'll see what happens there as they get on their season. But coming here this week in Kansas City, the Big 12 women's basketball tournament. Now we have KU and K-State obviously competing for these spots. Maybe not have the season that they've each wanted to have. But Katie, I know yesterday on our Sunday KC Sports Tonight show, you did a very cool story about Samaya Nichols and Jalea Davis and the Kansas Jayhawks. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and then obviously their postseason aspirations?
Yeah, so about a week ago, I had the chance to sit down with Samaya and Jalea and Coach Snyder and just talk to them about, why did they choose KU? When Samaya, who was the class of 2023, Jalea obviously as a freshman was 25, Samaya was kind of that first domino in the effect of getting all these 5-star recruits that KU has been getting, and they're still continuing to get. Coach Snyder calls her the quarterback of their team. She's without doubt their leader, and that means a lot to Samaya. She told me, knowing that how important she is to this team. But just talk to her and Jalea about, why KU, and it really was because of Coach Snyder's recruiting. Apparently the guy is just a wonderful recruiter, and he's been recruiting the heck out of them since they were both in 7th grade. He told me that those were 2 players we needed to stay home and be Jayhawks, and they're from Overland Park. Right down the road. They played basketball 15 minutes down the road from each other. Samaya at Shawnee Mission West, Jalea at Blue Valley North. Jalea also, fun fact, won her 9th straight Big 12 Freshman of the Week award this week, which sets an NCAA record of all power conferences. So shout out Jalea Davis.
From the EKL, the Conference of Champions.
The Conference of Champions. So yeah, just two great girls deserving of all the success that they're getting, and it just seems like there's been a disconnect that's happened this season, where they've just lost games that they were so close to winning. I mean, they almost upset TCU at TCU. They were just a few points away from winning that game, and TCU, by the way, won the conference. Yeah. They are the number 1 seed here this week. So this is a team that's so close. It seems like they just need one more thing to go right in their favor, and this is the perfect setting for that. I mean, this is the place where if you can string together a couple of wins in the Big 12 tournament, you're going to get a bid to the NCAA tournament, and that's the position KU is in right now. CBS Sports Bracketology has them as a first 4 out team. If they can win at least 2 or 3 games here, I don't see how they get left out of the tournament, especially with just how fun of a team they have to watch, the way that Jalea Davis plays basketball. I mean, the great Lynette Woodard says she scores the easiest 30 points she's ever seen in her life. So they're a fun team to watch, and they're really hoping that they can string something together this week so they can keep playing in March.
No, it certainly is all right there in front of the Jayhawks, but they got to come here and they got to take care of business. But just as you said, I mean, so many of the two most pivotal players on this team, Samaya Nichols and Jalea Davis, they grew up maybe 30 minutes right away from where we're standing right now. So KU certainly going to have a home field environment here inside T-Mobile Center. But the thing is, they got to come out here and get it done. But
yeah.
I mean,
Jalea did tell me she's got a huge support system, and she's had all year has had to ask her teammates to help out with family tickets so that more people can come for her. So if you see a giant section of Jalea Davis Davis fans, yeah, not going to be a surprise.
And they're a very, very fun team to watch, especially like when Jalea and Samaya get going. I mean, boy, that Jayhawk team is very, very fun to watch. But hey, KU, they're going to have to come here. They're going to have to take care of business if they want to get to the postseason. But that's what March Madness is all about, and that's definitely why we are all excited. But another team.
They play Wednesday at 8 p.m. They take on UCF.
Shout out to those Jayhawks, 8 p.m. You guys better be here or be square. Yeah. But the other team we have locally here are the K-State Wildcats. That maybe they didn't have the season that they expected going into this, but again, they have a lot to play for here in Kansas City. Katie, I know you've gone out actually and seen the Lady Wildcats out there in Manhattan a couple times. Maybe what are your thoughts about them as they come here to Kansas City for the postseason?
They are one of the youngest teams in power conferences right now, and it certainly looks like that. I'm not going to knock them on that at all because they're young and they're getting things figured out, and really one of the only returners they had from last year, and they've had so much success the last few years with players like Ayoka Lee and Gabby Gregory and Serena Sundell. But the only returner basically they had in the starting line, and she wasn't even a starter last year, was Taryn Sides. And she's done great this year, but there needs to be more, and they've just been inconsistent, I think is the word that you could describe them with this year. Like, they have certain games where, they went to Lubbock and upset the, at the time, undefeated Texas Tech Red Raiders, who were the number 17 team in the country, I believe, at the time, and they upset them. So they show these flashes of being this great team, and we know Jeff Mitty's brand is kind of, defensive basketball, and it's all about getting gaps. That's why they have the Gap Goat. And they've shown those flashes this year, but because they're so young, it just hasn't been consistent. Give it some time. Jordan Spicer is going to be one of the most exciting players to watch when she kind of comes into her playing in college. Right now, she's a true freshman. She was a highly rated recruit. So I think she's going to be fun to watch. Maybe she can make some magic happen here in KC. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be their season. But I could definitely see them winning 1 or 2 games.
I think Jeff Mitty is a tremendous head coach. It's always interesting to hear what he has to say because I think he's very transparent with the media. He'll just kind of tell you what he's thinking and what he's telling the players. And it's not that he's throwing anyone under the bus or heaping too much praise. He just kind of tells you how it is. But one thing about K-State that's really stood out to me this year has maybe been the development of Taryn Sides, because just as you talked about last year, maybe just a three-point shooter, like a 3-and-D type player. But the way that she has become a facilitator this year has really stood out to me. There have been some games like she's leading the team in assists on some of those nights. And I think maybe if she's able to do that, we'll see K-State obviously maybe play at their peak, but we'll see if they can do that. But talk about some of these other players. Tess Heel, she signed a professional deal to go play in Australia, her home country. She's a very good player. Nastia Claessens came over here, I believe, from Belgium or somewhere in Europe. She plays for a national team. She, like some days when she's on, I think if KU and K-State in many ways kind of look like mirror images to me because they're teams that have a ton of potential, but they just don't always maybe get it together out there on the basketball floor. But if those teams, both of them, can get it to click, I think they're two tremendous teams, and obviously we hope that they can have some success here in Kansas City. But anything else on women's basketball?
No, just as the 11 and 12 seed, as you said, they're so similar, and they're both the teams that I can see kind of making some Cinderella runs this week.
Yeah, I'm playing right here in Kansas City for both those schools. You'd have to think that's a little bit of an advantage for them versus maybe some of these other teams that have to come and travel a long way to Kansas City. But staying in the world of college basketball, flipping back to the men's side, Missouri Ford, Mark Mitchell was named the SEC Player of the Week. The Missouri Tigers, I was looking at the rankings, they are receiving votes. I believe they're the number 4 in that category. So if the rankings maybe were to go down, right now Missouri would be ranked number 29 in the nation. I think that would, they're firmly on the NCAA tournament bubble. I don't know really what else we can say other than that. If they do well in the SEC tournament and close out the rest of the season on a high note, I think they're in. If they kind of falter down the stretch, I think they're out. Just like it is for KU and K-State women, it is all in front of them for the Missouri Tigers. They just have to go out there and take care of business. But it has been so cool to see a former local product, a former Bishop Miege kid just like myself, Mark Mitchell.
Fighting Mark Powell.
Hey, he's from the EKL also, the League of Champions.
To Miege Mark.
Yeah, how about that? Except he, he's much better at basketball and much taller. So, so Missouri, what a week for them. They upset Tennessee, and then they absolutely just blow the doors off Mississippi State there on Saturday. So, Katie, I know you've seen Missouri a couple times this year. but I mean, they're closing out pretty strong. How are you feeling about the Tigers as, you know, the calendar flipped to March and the madness is set to begin?
Yeah, I think they can win at least one, maybe two games come the NCAA tournament. I do think they'll be a team that we see in March. Right now, I think CBS Bracketology has them as a 9 or a 10 seed after their big win over Mississippi State. Obviously, that stuff always kind of shakes up when it comes to these, you know, mid-major schools who win their tournaments and then they get in and all that stuff and kind of make everything crazy. But Missouri's absolutely capable of winning one or two games when it comes to March Madness. Similar to how we were just talking about KU and K-State women, I think that their thing has been consistency.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not like they're getting blown out of most of these games that they've lost. Like, they're usually pretty close. It just is a matter of, like, can they kind of just get over that hump and finish close games, which we've seen them do against certain teams, and we've seen them not do against certain teams. So that's going to make all the difference, I think. But this is a sneaky school when it comes to March.
And I think we got to remember the Missouri Tigers, they beat the defending national champion Florida Gators earlier this year. Yes, the game was in Columbia, but...
And they just won the SEC.
Yeah, the Florida Gators are the number 6 team in the country, so that kind of shows you the caliber, the peak, the potential of this Missouri team. But I think maybe throughout the season, Dennis Gates maybe had to find his rotations, find his guys. I think he's really found that here as the season's gone on. And I also want to say the emergence of, I believe he's a sophomore guard, T.O. Barrett. I mean, he really has kind of become this do-it-all, everything guy from Missouri, like an energy guy, gets big buckets when they need him. And the couple of times I've interacted with him, he really seems like a great kid, great guy. So I love to see the cohesion of these Dennis Gates squads. I mean, we've seen them over the last several years. Like, these are in no way, shape, or form are they always the same guys going out there, but these teams play for Coach Gates, they play for each other, and they really do play well as a unit. So Missouri really knocking on the door here of the NCAA tournament. Hopefully they can take care of business and keep that one going as they go to the SEC tournament coming up here in the next few days. But we also have some football news to talk about today. We all know everyone here in Kansas City loves to follow our recently 3-time Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs.
Weird, you can't say that.
Yeah, I know. They didn't even make the playoffs this last year. They're coming off a 6-11 season. But the good news for the Chiefs is they're trying to find ways to create cap space so they can improve the team and put a better product out there on the football field. Today, we saw yet another domino fall in the salary cap situation with at least according to reports, which it's a move that we have all long suspected, that the Chiefs have informed right tackle Jawaan Taylor that he will be released. He was the second highest paid player on the team and entering the final year of a 4-year, $80 million deal. Now, we've all know Jawaan Taylor, that he does have incredible ability, but one thing that's really haunted him, or did haunt him through his Chiefs career, were the number of penalties. I was doing some research going into this, and I believe he had 49 penalties called on him in 45 games in a Chiefs uniform, which was by far the most by any offensive lineman in all of football over that span. Now, he is likely going to be replaced by Jalen Moore, who the Chiefs signed last year when they didn't really know if they're going to have a tackle situation. He's now entering the second year of a 2-year, $30 million deal. But, Katie, two questions for you here. Are you surprised that the Chiefs got rid of Taylor? I don't think you are. But how do you think that this will have a big impact on what the Chiefs do with the 9th overall pick? Because there could be some very good offensive linemen available.
Yeah, I'm not surprised literally at all. If you're the second highest paid player on the team, you have to play like it. And I can't tell you, I mean, how many times did we just like shake our heads and like throw our heads in our hands because like in a crucial moment, you know, false start. So, I mean, it's been coming for some time now. If you're going to be paid that much, you got to play like it. He's been overpaid for too long, and it was not going to work out with the cap space. It could very well play a role in what they do at 9th overall, but I do think something that's going to play a role in that is how high Jeremiah Love goes. Look, the Chiefs have a running back room right now that is comparable to some college teams that I know of. It's not good. It hasn't been good. The stats speak for themselves. The inability to run the ball, they were one-dimensional this past year. They need a guy like Jeremiah Love, but he did just run a 4.36 40-yard dash, and he's a big guy, so that's crazy. And I think that's worrying a lot of Chiefs fans because he might get taken higher than that. So I think they're planning for if Jeremiah Love is off the board by the time they get to pick at 9th overall. Got to go offensive lineman, but at the same time, I mean, you can still get some really sneaky steals on day 2 when it comes up to beefing up that secondary because God knows the Chiefs need that too. Or maybe they go for an edge rusher because God knows they need that too. It's a big rebuild year. If Jeremiah Love is off the board by the time the Chiefs pick at 9th overall, I wouldn't be surprised if it's either offensive lineman or edge rusher.
Yeah, I know a lot of Chiefs fans have really been kind of fascinated with Jeremiah Love. They really want to have a dynamic running back, but I think after what just happened this past week in Indianapolis, I don't think there's a single chance in the world that he's going to be there at number 9. I think someone's going to fall in love with the talent. They're going to fall in love with the tape. They're going to see that he has the potential to be. I mean, they showed his 40. I think it was with Saquon Barkley, and he was faster than him, and he was bigger than him. And we know Saquon Barkley was just ranked the #1 player in all of football last year by his peers in the NFL Top 100. I think there's going to be. I don't think Jeremiah Love is going to be there. But in regards to if the Chiefs were maybe going to pick an offensive lineman, I just don't see that being the situation because they drafted Josh Simmons there last year, and then they did sign Jalen Moore. I mean, Jalen Moore, he started many games for them last year on both sides of the offensive line, even filling in at guard at sometimes. And he showed that he was actually a pretty good football player. I mean, there were some games. I mean, he started at left tackle on very short notice when Josh Simmons had to leave the team for personal reasons. And he performed admirably. And I think that the way that his teammates responded to him and really embraced him, I think Jalen is going to be his spot to lose there, maybe on the right side. But one more thing on Jawaan Taylor. I was maybe talking to someone close to the team. They were maybe evaluating the tackles last year, and they said that Jawaan Taylor and Josh Simmons could not have played more differently. And you look at their body types, obviously very, very different. Josh Simmons, I mean, if you see this guy without pads on, I mean, he looks
like a linebacker.
He almost looks skinny. Like, you would never think that he's an offensive lineman.
When we see him coming down the tunnel, like on game day, just in his normal street clothes, it's like, it takes a second when you have to realize, oh, that's Josh Simmons.
Yeah, and then, but I mean, yeah, what does he look skinny? Yes, but when he played, he was absolutely incredible. And Josh Simmons, he played with this is what I was hearing from the guy close to the team. Josh Simmons played with a very, very low pad level and was able to be very athletic with his movements and get out and run. And they say it was the exact opposite on the right side of the line with Jawaan Taylor. Jawaan Taylor played very high. He was very good at pass protection. He was very good at maybe leaning on people and stopping them. But the athleticism, it was not the same as Josh Simmons, and I think maybe the Chiefs are going to want to have tackles that maybe play with similar play styles, but hey, we'll see how that all shakes out. The Chiefs are going to have a lot of options there at number 9, but we'll see how that cookie crumbles. But that might be a look at KC Sports tonight. Anything else we got tonight?
No, we're going to go check out a glass court coming up on KCTV5 News at 6. Join us live.
Yeah, Katie Marr's going to have a live report coming up in just a little bit more than a half hour coming up in our 6 p.m. sports block. We already got a sneak peek at this court. We're going to get another one, but guys, I know a lot of people are kind of clowning the Big 12 for this, but it's
cool.
In person, it looks pretty legit. I hope it plays well on TV. The Big 12 obviously has a lot of big plans for this, but we're going to show you a sneak peek tonight at 6 and then also tonight at 10. But that is a look at KC Sports tonight on this Monday, March the 2nd. Take care, guys.